hope that will also improve with time. It was indicated also that we worked a lot with local government, SALGA, to ensure that more local drug action committees are established. And you heard from Pastor Masimula that this is law, this is legislated. Where you live, if there's no local drug action committee, please make an appointment with the mayor of that municipality and say, this community doesn't have an LDEC. Can you, Executive Mayor, according to the law of 2008, number 70, of prevention of drug use and treatment of those who have substance use disorder. Okay. And then, I mean, also we have this National Drug Master Plan as the foundation. It is the policy of our country, and it has looked at supply reduction. And we must say that a lot of work has been done in terms of police raiding the illegal taverns, those who sell liquor illegally, and in fact, they also sell illicit substances. There were closures of those clandestine labs. There were seizures of, a large amount of the drugs that we spoke about. They worked in the borders, but we know that our borders are still porous and much, much more work still needs to be done. We had these 21 departments and the communities, the civil society organizations offering treatment and harm reduction, and we spoke about that yesterday. We are not very strong in terms of data, monitoring and evaluation, but we realize that we can work with more universities. We will continue to work with SAKENDU and the South African Research Council so that everything that we do is informed by data. And we heard yesterday how we as Africa and South Africa are doing in terms of substance use, but also in terms of illegal trafficking of harmful substances. So going forward with the 2026 30 National Drug Master Plan, we say 2026 because 2025 is gone. So it will be from 2026 next year up to 2030. And we know that it will still go to once, as a CDA, we are happy that your inputs have been incorporated. It will still go to the clusters. We have a social cluster in government that looks at social issues of substance use. There is an economic cluster, and we are not very strong with the economic cluster, led by the DTIC, the Department of Trade and Industry and Commission. We need to ensure that we work closer with them because they are doing quite a lot of work in terms of issues of economic growth, ensuring that poverty, unemployment, and inequality is reduced. And we know that as a country, we are still suffering from high levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. So with the 2026-2030 National Drug Master Plan, and hopefully from those clusters, it will go to the cabinet, and it will also go to, it will first go to Parliament, and we have a committee that's very, very supportive. And from the committee, it will probably go to Parliament as well. But eventually it will be approved by the cabinet of South Africa under the leadership of President Ramaphosa. So we have embraced in this National Drug Master Plan the shifting patterns of substance use, the persistence of alcohol and tobacco. And we have said, even the 2019-2024 National Drug Master Plan is a good document. And we don't need to change it, but we just need to improve it here and there. And we spoke yesterday about this growing spread of methamphetamine, of heroin, and in South Africa, it's Nyaupe, Wunga, and they include heroin there, cannabis, and new psychoactive substances. And the increase of polydrug use. Polydrug use is just a combination of all these substances. You can imagine what harm it causes to the young people. But we've also embraced the mental health disorders as well, coming out of the communities. We've embraced gender-based violence. We've embraced the scourge of HIV and other social challenges. And we have also recognized that there are online markets and that and darknet platforms where young people can just search the net and buy cocaine, buy heroin, just from the internet. And nobody asks, how old are you? Are you above 18 or are you below 18? No, even 17-year-olds can access the internet and buy these drugs. So the security cluster is tightening this particular market of selling drugs online. We have also embraced the role of the traditional leaders, the role of the community leaders and members, the role of the faith-based organization. We know that some of the churches of faith organizations are doing good work, but there are those we heard yesterday who are doing bad work. They are beating the young people. When they are there, they are chaining them, and they are doing things that are not in line with human rights. Because what we do in our country should be in line with our human rights as entrenched in the Constitution. So we, in this new or revised National Drug Master Plan, we have built on past lessons, and we are responding to the current realities. I've said that we haven't been strong on monitoring evaluation, but with this plan, we hope that this will be strengthened to ensure accountability. And we are embracing a whole of government and whole of society approach that even at this biennial summit, we are actually embracing. We are also saying that all the programs, starting from prevention, education, awareness creation, advocacy, treatment, aftercare, and harm reduction, should be evidence-based. And the World Health Organization, together with the United Nations Office for Drugs, they do have these standards. So we are using those standards, but we are also using the information that we are getting from the people on the ground. We are also informed by the African Union Plan of Action on Drug Control. We are informed by the UN Drug Convention, and I think the minister yesterday, Deputy Minister, spoke about the conventions and what is coming out of the conventions from all the countries of the world. But we are also embracing the Sustainable Development Goals as well. And this plan represents really the 5th iteration of South Africa's national policy on drug use and illicit trafficking, and it consolidates all the other policies that are there in our country, because all the 21 departments do have laws and they do have policies on how we can actually address this challenge in our country. And the priority actions that are found in the 2026-2030 National Drug Master Plan include locking governance and financing, because without adequate budgets in this country for substance use programs, we will not be able to address the scourge. But we are also embracing the local drug action committees. We must make an engine room for that and make sure that all the municipalities, we have local drug action committees so that they can localize the programs against substance use in our country. And we also will be upscaling the evidence-based treatment and harm reduction. We spoke about various programs of harm reduction, and I'm not going to repeat, but the importance of naloxone. We spoke about naloxone yesterday, that we can save the lives of young people who die because of overdose. You remember Ricky? You know Ricky? He's one of the young people really who suffered from drug overdose, but had families and communities known that you can actually, have access to naloxone and you can actually administer it. We can save a lot of lives of young people. So we will also, in this new revised National Drug Master Plan, strengthen alcohol and illicit substance focus in the National Drug Master Plan, and with the support of World Health Organization and other organizations as well. And we will be targeting prevention where risk is higher. We know the key populations that we are dealing with, the vulnerable women. We spoke about also women who have no employment and find themselves having to be in the industry of sex work. I know we no longer call it that way because we have to respect those people. They don't like where they are, but they do it so that they can actually take care of their families. So we will target all those risk areas, even in the sports and arts industries. We've heard recently that there are soccer stars, or let me say sportsmen and women, who are using substances, and it affects their performance in terms of sports. So we will be looking at all those. We will be looking at children and young people who are exposed to drugs, and we'll also work together with those who are engaged in gender-based violence. We'll tighten the supply side systems, and I think we heard a lot yesterday on what is happening in as far as that is concerned. We will build a single national drug a plan, information plan, and we spoke about how we are going to ensure that all the information and data is collected at a single point, and that we are all able to use it in order to improve the laws of this country and the policies. We are also going to ensure recovery to livelihood pathways. And we've heard about our brother Mapalane, who is now 23 years clean. And we want more and more people who are using substances that are harmful to also become clean. On regulatory framework, I think we list all those from the international conventions, from the global policy conventions, the ministerial declarations that we have used to review the National Drug Master Plan, but also the African Union Plan of Action, as well as the SADC protocol, right? We'll be using all those to really review them and be able to review the National Drug Master Plan. And then it also includes the situational analysis in terms of the psychoactive substances, in terms of the polysubstance use, the national trends, the international overview, as well as the trends in the African continent and in South Africa as well. So we actually talk about how are we doing as South Africa in terms of substance use, and we are making use of the new realities in our country. And then we share with you there the extent and the trends of use of all forms of harmful substances in our country. And we actually say what is happening in each of the provinces: Free State, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Northern Cape region, Western Cape. And you will see that the most used substance in all these provinces is alcohol. It is alcohol, and it's followed by cannabis. The children spoke a lot yesterday about cannabis. It is then also followed by Nyaupe, of course, where young people just mix a lot of substances, and heroin in particular. Tobacco products as well are used, especially by young people. We also look at the socio-economic context and substance use in South Africa, and I think we all know by now that high unemployment, inequality, and poverty really exacerbate drug use in our country. We also look at the gender and vulnerability of our people, the stigma, and what we must do about stigma, because it starts at home. We must stop calling them Bonyaupe or dirty boys. Instead, we must really assist them to go to rehabs so that they are not discriminated. We look at employment and education, and we know that it's important for children of South Africa and young people to go through education and actually complete it. And we know that many of some of the children who are school going are actually not at school. And this plan says, let's ensure that school-going children go to school and ensure that education is of good quality as well. We look at those who are in conflict with the law, and we spoke at length yesterday that we need to review those laws that are not assisting us to change the situation in our country. We also look at the economic and social costs. We spoke about the cost of alcohol in our country, that is more than the costs, or it's more than the profits that those who are selling alcohol to underage children in our country. And then we also look at the risk behavior and the health outcomes. We've spoken about GBV, we've spoken about HIV, we've spoken about STIs, and that really we need to prevent this from happening because these are preventable. And then we also acknowledge stigma and exclusion. I think we've spoken at length about that. And then we look at the implications for the National Drug Master Plan that is being reviewed. And I think we really repeat all the things that we have spoken about earlier. But we emphasize the policy shift on how we should understand addiction. It's no longer about moral failure. It's about chronic health condition. And health and rights-based responses are very, very important. The speakers were saying, let's move away from punitive measures. Those rehabs that are not complying, let's not be punitive, let's be developmental and assist them, because we heard from the Premier that we need more beds. We need more beds in rehabs, we need more beds in the private rehabs, in the community-based rehabs. Okay, those are outpatient in the main, but we need you know, our people to be assisted whenever they need assistance. We are now adopting a whole of society approaches. This is not a problem for government, it's a problem for the whole society. And the whole society must really play a role. Integration of mental health and substance use services, strengthening evidence-based interventions, reducing stigma and discrimination. I think we keep on repeating that because it's very, very important. So with the strategic plan, I think I'm concluding, we recognize the complex and involving relationship between substance use, human development, and public health. And addressing this challenge requires a coordinated, multi-sectoral, and whole of society approach that is firmly anchored in the constitutional values of dignity, of equality, and human rights. The plan seeks to promote rational, compassionate, and evidence-based responses that prevent social marginalization, that reduce stigma, that encourage individuals to seek treatment. Community-based approaches remain central with families. I think we're reminded by our Kenya guest that let's start in the family, then we go to the schools, we go to the workplaces, to the faith-based organizations. The traditional leadership is also involved. And that this strategic intent is actually to create a South Africa where people are safe from the harms associated with substances, where communities are resilient and empowered, and where all citizens have access to the support and opportunities needed to live. That we have come up with, having listened to those who made inputs and having deliberated as the CDA. We really would like to have a South Africa free from harmful substance use and illicit drug trafficking. The mission is about creating a safe, resilient, and compassionate society through curbing drug trafficking and empowering individuals and communities by implementing evidence-based strategies and programs. The principles are the same: human rights-based, evidence-based, multi-sectoral and multilateral, people-centered, inclusive, and participatory. The goals are the same, there they are, because we say a lot more work still needs to be done. So we have retained all the 7 goals. It's about reduction of demand for substances that are harmful through evidence-based prevention, treatment, and drug use. It's about reduction of supply of drugs through a multi-sectoral cooperation. It's about ensuring availability of and access to controlled substances. It's about identifying trends and control of the new psychoactive substances. We heard about the fact that they are just new substances, and when the security class and police go to these labs, sometimes they don't know what they are looking for. So it's important that there is training of those who are responsible for them to be able to identify these new substances. It's about promoting governance, leadership, accountability, so that there's a coordinated and multi-sectoral response. Government cannot work alone. It must work with the communities. It must work with the civil society organizations. We must continue to stimulate robust and sustainable economic growth, given the high levels of poverty, of unemployment, and inequalities in our country. So thank you very much. So that's the revised National Drug Master Plan, but we think we're not yet done. We're waiting for your inputs. We're waiting for the results from this summit so that they can be included in the new National Drug Master Plan. And thank you very much for contributing to it.
The size of adjustability. You see, our chairperson is well endowed in beauty and height. So some of us have to adjust our colors. Thank you so much, Chairperson, for really awakening us to where we are at and what we are about for the National Drug Master Plan. We know that the process has unfolded to a certain extent, but the hands that were lifted in this room is speaking to the fact that we need to really be engaging more in our nation. It cannot be taken for granted that with all the processes that on paper can be spoken to have happened, we have done any good. So in the same way that we have been challenged to advance the course for the good of our nation, we are taking that call further. So there would also be opportunities where we will do virtual stakeholder engagements. And we are glad that you have registered. So we will use the information to be able to access most of you, to invite you to those sessions so that we would have meaningful contributions whilst we are still saying our NDMP is still one of the best, yet needing to be reviewed to be the bestest and also to be implemented henceforth. We are having two videos from yesterday. And I'm requested that we just take the few minutes to be able to receive those messages, because these messages are coming, one from our former President, Honorable Kgalema Motlanthe, who is in representation, in this case, representing the Eastern and the Southern Africa Commission on Drugs, and also from the African Union Commission. So may I request the team that are going to be flighted here to kindly share the videos for us. And then from there, we were looking at the recap for this session and realized that with some of the committees, a number of commissions have indicated that they are still consolidating or they did not reach a certain extent of conclusion of the process. So we will then immediately after the videos have commissions going back to the same venues of yesterday and making sure that within an hour, at the most an hour half, we conclude that process, because we have to come and share the information in this plenary. I believe that we will also just make sure that the facilitators, the scribes, and the rapporteurs, I know that there are some rapporteurs we were ready to be presenting this morning, but because it's not an even process, we have always been inclusive and working in a unified manner. So requesting that we have that opportunity. And if at all, lastly, you are not in any commission yesterday or you only came in today, we are having 6 commissions, and I would request that you be able to participate in those. May we have the videos at this point?
Ababa, Ethiopia. Dignitaries, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the existing protocol, and a very good morning from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. On behalf of the Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, African Union Commission, Her Excellency Ambassador Ahmad Amoa, I extend warm congratulations to the Republic of South Africa for convening this important summit on substance use and illicit trafficking. This summit comes at an opportune moment, not only following the historic hosting of G20 for the first time on African soil, but also as the African Union is developing a new continental drug control strategy and action plan. We welcome actionable recommendations from this gathering to inform the new frameworks. Recently, the African Union conducted an evaluation of progress by member states in implementing the current Continental Drug Action Plan, and we are grateful to the Republic of South Africa for collaboration and facilitating our in-country assessment as one of the sampled countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the findings of the evaluation across the continent are sobering. Africa is at a crossroads. We have more drugs, new drugs, and more problems. Some member states are experiencing a meltdown of sorts due to increased availability and use of psychoactive substances. Youth, women, and even children as young as 9 years are reported among those seeking treatment for substance use disorders. This summit therefore provides a vital platform to revisit policies and practices, addressing both drug trafficking and organized crime while ensuring services for people with substance use disorders. A transformative approach is urgently needed. We must place people at the center of national drug control responses through concrete investments in drug control architecture, strengthening mechanisms against organized crime, promoting health through balanced drug control and scaling up evidence-based services, building capacity and credentialing professionals in prevention, treatment, and care, removing barriers to the availability of internationally controlled medicines for medical and scientific purposes, expanding data collection, research, and analysis, enhancing policymakers' knowledge on drug control, including integrating traditional leadership to widen the reach of community interventions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a small step taken here in South Africa goes a long way towards advancing implementation of African Union Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. A peaceful, prosperous, and secure Africa, leaving no one behind. I thank you. Distinguished dignitary.
Whilst we are waiting for the volume adjustment and adjusting the message by our Honorable Tate Kgalema Motlanthe, I just want to reiterate that immediately after that message, we are going to be going to commissions. And we know that there are also those who still had to share information today. Let everything be done in that session so that when we come back and we report back, It's a full report. We'll be combining the reports of yesterday and those of today so that then we can be able to conclude meaningfully and also inform the resolutions from that process. Thank you very much.
Government representatives,
Um, we believe that there's advantage in technology, and at times we also have challenges with technology. I'm sure we have all seen that indeed the message from our honorable member is there with us. However, because it's taking a little bit of while, we are requesting that at this point, we use this time meaningfully to be able to go to commissions. And we are also needing every scribe, every rapporteur to make sure that you consolidate the information so that when we come back after lunch, everything is put together. Uh, I guess this shows the kind of excitement we need, but just switch it on. Switch it on. You may as well have a party. Hey, I guess somebody says we need a party. And and maybe just for that 1 minute, just give them 1 second, 1 minute. I, I'm giving up. I tried. I tried to let us have a party. It's not working. Uh, may we settle down? May we settle down? Uh, Someone wanted us to have some vibrancy, but it's even the vibrancy is not working for us, even the presentation. So we're going to take this time to go back to the commissions, commission 1 to 6, and we also will make sure that at 12, please make sure that you have consolidated everything up to a point of recommendations for the resolution, because at that time, the scribes, the facilitators, the rapporteurs are going to have to meet in the facilitators and scribes room. Before we go to lunch, we consolidate, and everyone else will be able to go to lunch between 12 and 1, and then at 1, we are regrouping back here in plenary. Is that workable at this point? Thanks very much. And I'm sure for the young ones, there will be a moment for a party before we go. Not only you, even the older ones, because I saw hands going up already. So there was a livelihood. But thanks so much. May we then at this point move to the commissions. And when we have an opportunity, we'll still play our honorable member's message as we come back to plenary. Thank you so much. And if you're able to grab a cup of coffee or whatever on the way, please do so.
It is important for governments to move towards ending prohibition and criminalization. Now, governments need to understand that this scourge of drugs needs an all people and all government approach or response, so that it's not just the police, it's not just health in silos, but it's not just social welfare, but all government, all people, all government, because when young people are afforded and provided with the recreational amenities and sport that keeps them away from experimenting in drugs. It also makes them appreciate the value of a healthy, wholesome body, and it enhances their performance even in education. So, at a regional level, the Eastern and Southern Africa Commission on Drugs was established by 5 key leaders in the region. Professor Karaisha Abdul Karim and His Excellency Joaquim Chissano, former president of Mozambique, His Excellency Kasam Utim, former president of Mauritius, and the former Chief Justice of Kenya, Willy Mutunga, who is now retired, and myself. And so we were mainly, 2 of us, of course, serve on the Global Commission on Drug Policy. that is Hassan Mutim and myself, are commissioners of the Global Commission on Drug Policy. And so we realized that the Indian Ocean islands, as well as the eastern seaboard of the African continent, were awash with cocaine coming from Afghanistan, and that very highly sophisticated methods of bringing the cocaine into this region were employed and used. And so we were established in Cape Town in February of 2013. And since then, we have held all-inclusive meetings in Mozambique, in Mauritius, in Zanzibar, as well as here in South Africa and Botswana. And we launched our report of almost 3 years of work in June this year in Nairobi. And the report, as I said, is a culmination of almost 3 years of intensive work. One of the things we tried to advocate for was the decriminalization or legalization of cannabis, because that's the commonly used traditional drug across the continent of Africa. And so we got, and the different countries in the region have taken baby steps towards decriminalization or legalization. And so we provided a platform to representatives and delegates from these different countries to compare notes, to identify gaps, and decide on remedial steps. I must say that in the region, only Lesotho and Malawi have fully legalized cultivation and trade and usage of cannabis. The rest of the other countries are still lagging behind in that regard. And so we want to commend the Central Drug Authority for convening this important summit, which is long overdue, and we hope that arising out of it will be policies that resonate with the policies, the 5 pathways determined by the Global Commission on Drug Policy. Because already just from the theme, one can see common approaches and resonance with the Global Commission's appeal to all stakeholders. So once again, I want to wish the summit very progressive and productive deliberations to ensure that I interact with participants. Once again, all of the best, and I hope that we will benefit from the outcomes of this summit. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed, our summit, the 4th Biennial Summit, has had a very rich and very supportive and equally empowering sessions through our notes of remarks, be it interaction in the hall. And now we want to take it to culmination with what has come from the room. I need to check quickly whether the rapporteurs are here for the 6 groups. We are going to go on a 3 minutes, really key highlights in those 3 minutes, and maybe just a minute to give inputs. And I also am going to request that by at least 2:30, if all the CDA members, if it's possible, could be in the room also. So we will start with the rapporteurs reporting, and then I will just have that short interjection for a particular assignment, and then we will continue. May I just check who is available and ready, so that we will not necessarily go by order of commissions, we'll go by readiness and availability so that we can maximize on the time we have. Any commission rapporteurs who are here who are ready? I'm seeing 2 already. May I start with those? That's commission? Which commission? We have commission 2, we have commission 4. May I start with commission 2 and then I'll follow with commission 4. We would not be asking questions per se. We will just be giving further inputs for those members who were in those particular commissions when they would be available. Thank you so much. You may come through, Mom. Let's appreciate her even though it is a request.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Is this on? Am I audible? All right. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Nomfundo Nhlapo, representing the Commission 2, which was really looking at drug responses this afternoon. Our presentations were quite detailed that we had and raised key issues in substance use, and they entailed the following highlights. That cannabis burden is something that we need to be quite focused on at the moment, as most commonly used substance and contributing to about 76% of all admissions amongst individuals 18 years and younger is concerned. Harm reduction was discussed at length by most presenters, which cited 53,000 individuals who are reported across South Africa to be accessing services of harm reduction through Department of Health partners that are currently grant funded. And as a report, it also showed that there's currently 4% success rate of opioid substitution programs, and the percentage is not low because the program is not successful, but because we have a coverage problem that is actually hindered a lot by the available funding. A strong recommendation came to getting more females of between 25 to 35-year-old to be on the OST program, especially because we often meet them in the last trimester of pregnancy, and by then we've got a mother and child burden and of care that we have to prevent in terms of overdose even to the child. Another strong recommendation is really resting on understanding that programs have got to really focus by us, where the importance of peer-driven education and sensitization of our communities becomes a specific focus. We then moved on to the much discussed and often contentious subject of needle syringe or needle exchange programs, where we are in agreement that we really need to all be well-versed and understand that a lot of it really has got to do with the fact that those programs are trying to decrease HIV transmission, viral hepatitis transmission, and decrease complications from what we call missed shots that often lead to sepsis, which is another cause of death in our population. Quality needles, known as low dead space syringe needles, currently being researched in the city of Johannesburg to, again, reduce the missed shots that we are seeing. Communities to inform our interventions through promoting community advisory boards, because essentially programs must prioritize community member values. Peer-led research capacity development is also quite important, and innovative harm reduction approaches where multi-sectoral early warning systems should be sustained by our government. And lastly, harm reduction and community providers can be able to use drug checking to inform surveillance and health responses. That was what we discussed, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nhlapo. We are so thankful and grateful for also honoring the time. From Group 2, are there any inputs that those who are in Group 2 would like to add to what has been shared, or we are good with what has been presented from Group 2? My young ones, may I have your delightful attention? Thank you so much. Thank you. Group 2, I'm looking around the room. I'm seeing the room saying they are content. So may we appreciate. Thank you very much. May we then go to Group 4, and may I just request that maybe the other rapporteurs be enlightened that we have already started with the session so that we can be able to move with great speed for the other groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you so much, Mayor Mabwe, for an opportunity. My name is Moses Wakakama, representing Group 4. So basically, we look at Goal 7, stimulate robust and sustainable economic growth aimed at reducing poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Basically, because of 3 minutes, we have a lot of things that we have made note of, but I will just touch, Chairperson, on few of the things. We did indicate that we need a strong, sustainable livelihood in our country, because we had great presentation that were made by a number of organizations. And mostly things that we have looked at issue of ensuring that when you look at learnerships, cooperatives, and the like, we don't just look at people that are coming from rehabilitation centers of ours and the likes, but equally we must ensure that people who use drugs are catered so that they can be able to do things on themselves and on their own without being coerced or anything of that sort. So this sustainable livelihood initiative must equally look at that. And then we did say that we need to advance the multi-sectoral approach so that we don't work in silos, ensure that we participate and be part of the local drug action committee so that we can make in terms of inputs, as we know that we don't have in terms of enough money. And issues of stigma, discrimination will be involved with skilled people, like so that we avoid in terms of issues not being attended to. Even young people were highlighting even issues of other key population like sex workers and the likes, which does not get to be covered on some of these upskillment programs and initiatives that are happening and on the ground. Capacity on writing, looking at governmentally encourage, look at various population and people go through. So I'm trying, colleagues, to avoid other things which, so that I save time. And then one of the things that was looked at to say we need to ensure that we have one pot of funds, meaning that there's mention of CARA, SIN funds, so that we have 40% from that money, so that money can be used to ensure that there's upskillment, there's in terms of job creations, and ensure that our people, they are not dependent. So we are calling for 40% of that, and then we are in support, although it's not mentioned here. I think the group mentioned that there's a process that is happening on issues of sin, tax, and the likes, where the treasury is busy with the process of making that call. We are saying we are supporting that process as much as we know they will not reinvent, but we are using the word reinvent, and supporting, hoping that they will take, because one of the group members was alluding to the fact that they don't like, in terms of that weight. And then we are saying that we have what you call a CSI, corporate social investment. That social investment, some of the colleagues, Chairperson, were saying that we can even use in terms of, one of our member organization from an NPO, so that we can keep, in terms of our things running, because there is a lot of money, besides, the so-called syntax and the likes, and the industry, because as you know that as per our policies, the companies must do something in terms of community. Yeah, and then I think there was issues which was made in as well in terms of reinvesting of money, tenders. You get what I mean? So that some of and that man, when you have cooperative from our beneficiaries and so forth, they must be given in terms of set aside man, so that they commission them or they use them, so that because that man, it will help in terms of upskilling, creating job opportunities, and ensuring that we minimize and eradicate poverty in our areas. And then lastly, most important issues of oversight, monitoring, and evaluation is very critical, because if we don't do that, then it means the companies that are supposed to contribute on CSI, ensuring the call that we are making in terms of the tenders and some of the
Group 4 report. I'm not seeing any hands. So, there's a hand. Yes, please.
Okay, I've got a loud voice. So come here.
Yes, please, because they are recording.
Um,
May we also just have a roving mic for ease of inputs? Thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask just a question. You talked about CSI contributions to communities and for projects and so on and so forth. There's another acronym, COI, conflict of interest. And especially in terms of the alcohol industry and tobacco industry for that matter, we're very cautious about asking them to give that as an excuse to say, you see, we care, and then use that as a way of trying to persuade government not to introduce stronger regulations and stronger legislation. So CSI is it is good to if you adopt the polluter pay principle, it's very good to get the companies that are causing harm to pay to deal with that harm. But a better way of doing it, rather than through a CSI program, is through government setting up what they call a national health development plan, like they've got in Thailand, where the tax that comes from thanks.
Thanks very much for the input. I'm trusting that our scribes are continuing to capture all these points. I saw another hand. May we have a roving mic, please, if it's available? May it come through? But you may come here in the meantime, because we are sparing time.
Yeah, no, thanks. In terms of the industry, we did say in terms of via the treasure, so we're mindful in terms of reinforcing using that way. It's quite covered. But the National Drug Master Plan is quite clear in terms of everyone, because our people, because they don't understand National Drug Master Plan and excavate, they think this issue is social development. No, it's not like that. We're not talking about CSI corporate social investment. We are not talking about only the industry. We are talking about their companies, because they need to be involved. They need to contribute. They need to participate, because this issue is not only of social development. Thank you.
Thanks very much for further clarity and inputs. I am looking around the room. I believe that the inputs that have been given and additions are in order. May I then, with no other show of hands, may we just appreciate? Oh, thank you. Let me identify the hands. You are gonna, I need somebody to run with the mic so that it will assist us quickly. I need you to still pay attention.
Anti-match pregnancy.
That point actually was glaringly placed to say, let's start with the source. And also let's address the ills instead of just going to the end of it. Am I having because we have our scribe here, may we kindly capture it? So that we do not lose that point. And if at all in the resolutions it is lost, may you kindly just make sure that you do exactly that. Thank you so much. Are we now covered on group 4? I'm looking for the last time around. All right. May we then go to group? Okay. We have group 6. And group 5. All right. Group 6 had said that, which group is ready now? 5 and 6. All right, may we go with group 5? And then we'll follow with group 6. May we have a presentation from group 5? All right. Thank you. Let us appreciate the presenter.
Greetings, everyone. I go by the name of Tlou. This quote: we will never solve the problem with the same mentality that created that problem. So our topic was cross-cutting vulnerability, GBV, youth, mental health, LGBTQI+, and social fragmentation. So evidence presentation, so because our PowerPoint is very long, so I will start with, I won't share full evidence of evidence presented by the presenters. Thank you. So the evidence presented, 360 million people globally uses drugs in the past year, 2023. The growing demand leads to expanding supply. Family level risk factors: absent fathers, no parental figures, trauma, abuse, neglect, and permissiveness, and lack of spirituality. 35% of women are experiencing GBV. Substance use triples the risk of GBV. Intoxicated partners increases damage, increases danger sixfold. And then barriers identified. Number 1, funding/resources. Funding structures do not adequately support users or victims. Needs for relocation of resources. In terms of community, I'm still on barriers identified. Limited family support, poor communication between parents and children, lack of open doors policies in the home. In terms of policy, ensure communities have their basic needs met, such as poverty reduction, services, and food securities, improve understanding and implementation of the existing policies. Program improvement, improve early intervention and school-based program, strengthen mental health services and integrate them with substance use responses. Harm reduction, strengthening community-based harm reduction program, expand child-friendly services and youth-focused harm reduction approaches. Law and enforcement, provide basic services to help reduce reliance on drugs, improve policing around drugs availability, addressing corruption in public offices. Community empowerment, protect children from strengthen nurturing family environment and parental monitoring. Apology. From traditional healers, cultural norms should be reviewed, e.g., child marriage, to ensure that no rights are not infringed upon. DSD, improve services linkage, strengthen DSD, restructure funding to support users and victims. DOH, Department of Health, vulnerable pregnant women must be prioritized. Prevention of HIV and SUD impact on children well-being. Schools, mental health support and safe space is needed. Need for accurate evidence and evidence-based messaging. Translation into local language. Education campaign must be culturally relevant. Need for a strong communication strategy and funding for community education. And then subs, equip subs with a safe space environment. So day 2, evidence presented. Sexualized drugs use is common in a society which comes with various risks like HIV, STI, 150 plus chemsex encounter collectively in 6 months. Bring back recreational activities. 7 to 18 years indigenous game. Introduction of books in schools from grades 1 to 7, reading for meaning and nurture them from drugs by 2036. Barriers identified. 1. Policies. One nation, one national chemsex guideline in South Africa. No mobilizations beyond it. Drug use remains criminalized. Reduction willingness to seek help. Lack of LGBTQI plus affirming harm reduction services. Institutional. Health providers lack training in chemsex and Q sexual health. Limited integration between sexual health, mental health, and harm reduction services. Community and social. Stigma within both LGBTQ plus and general communities. Lack of safe space for MSM to discuss chemsex without judgment. Legal integrate mental health counseling into harm reduction services. Strengthen PrEPs, PEP, and STI screening, and hepatitis services to people who slam. Legal rights based. Promotes savior-centered stigma-free reporting pathway. Advocate for decriminalizations model that support public health aim. Traditional leaders, parents to be educated about the risk factor engaging in the child marriage. Churches, host men and women and youth conference to integrate program and connection and connect professionals to speak in churches, encourage smaller churches to participate in integrated community programs, build the capacity of churches to support representatives. I thank you.
You see the beauty of having to present when our deputy minister arrives. Then someone really has to give the best. Ne? So I permitted them because also the deputy minister availability yet. So may I kindly just honor my word. So may I have group 6, and I'm glad that group 1 is here. So may we just have group 1 ready to be able to present after group 6. In group 6, because it's our PSF member, I'm gonna negotiate my 2.5 minutes plus 1 versus even the 3 minutes. Thank you so much. May we appreciate him.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, colleagues. Oh, what rev. Good afternoon, Deputy Minister. Thank you so much. I'll be representing Group 6. But now, Program Director, thank you. I requested that there's a message, and I'm glad the Deputy Minister is here, that in our group, we, like, you listen, that this was important. So I want us to welcome, we have a daughter in Group 6 who has prepared something. And we felt that as Group 6, that let us not be selfish, let the house listen to what our daughter has prepared for us. Let's give a round of applause to come and talk to us. Please come quickly, my daughter. Please rush, you don't have time. Please, let's welcome her quickly. We don't have time, my daughter, please come. We felt what she's going to share, it is important for this plenary. I'm not going to take her words. Just say it as we prepared you, my daughter, isn't it? Quickly, because time is not on our side. Let's appreciate her for the last time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Uratile Pule. I am from Ward School, Alls Park. With regards to what the ma'am earlier said about the right people who we are talking to regarding the substance abuse affecting us as youth. The problem starts when questions that are about substance abuse is affecting the youth are directed to adults. This is destroying us, the students, the learners, especially in environments like schools, from people who don't understand the amount of trauma and drugs we are exposed to. Hear us out, because we might happen to be a solution to these problems that we are currently facing. Allow our ideas and strategies to also be on paper so they can be carried out. When we compare this generation of now to the generation that was there during the apartheid, there's a huge difference. Because the government of then knew what they were fighting for, and that was the freedom of their people, which they achieved it, but we have to fight against the government and enforce violence and protest just to be heard. For what reason? We have acts like the Prevention of and Treatment of Substance Act of 2008. This law was made the year I was born, and 17 years later, here I am standing here speaking about the same act in a different summit, spreading the same message with no change. The Bill Act addresses substance abuse in schools, in which we understand that substance abuse and drug abuse is attacking and destroying schools. But we need to deal with the cause here. Drugs and cannabis don't come from schools, they come from outside, meaning that our focus should also be to the youth that are not in schools, because that makes them a much more easy target. I would like to, this implications that destroy a lot of aspects of our lives. they destroy a lot of our lives. We are constantly reminded of the fact that we are a future generation. But then we take a moment and ask ourselves, how can we develop the nation, or rather the youth of the nation, if people in power currently don't listen to our cries? We expect these people who take hold of resources that us as the youth require in order to limit the use of these drugs and substance abuse in very crucial environments like schools, where us as the youth are supposed to learn and receive education that is meant to be a key to success. But what happens when the same place that is meant for education and building lives becomes a place where young lives are being destroyed and talents are being wasted, the same talents and minds that are expected to take the country to greater heights? We as youth are being failed when it comes to laws. The laws regarding substance abuse in South Africa, which are primarily governed by the two key pieces of legislation, the Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act of 1992 and the Prevention and Treatment of Substance Abuse Act of 2008, where we have these laws and acts but no change is being made. Laws create a system of rules that guide and control how people and organizations are there to prevent chaos by enforcing rules and providing consequences for those who break them. But yet people who enforce these substances on us are still free and not held accountable. And for as long as these acts and laws are not being put into action, we will be singing the same song, creating organizations that keep spreading the same message until our people get tired and watch this youth die down along with the country. And that shouldn't be an option. Sometimes what we need as youth, or rather what we seek for, are ears and not empty promises as a response. But we need actions. We need people to be accountable and face consequences by actually using these laws. Thank you.
Do you agree that this was necessary? You see, room 6, we are not selfish. We said this must be heard by everybody. Let's give a round of applause for that. Ladies and gentlemen, without any waste of time, our group was dealing with institutional framework on the National Drug Master Plan. And I will shoot straight to, there's a number of things that we spoke about. But the first thing that we want to submit to the forum or to this delegation is number one, is that the current NDMP process, we fully understand and we fully respect that the DM has indicated that it's almost towards its final stage. But there's this group, we are requesting that let it be taken back to go for further consultation before it can be adopted. We said, you've listened to this. These learners and the group have felt that this document, yes, it's fine, but it still needs further inputs from the civil society, community, and also all people that are affected with substance abuse. So we are saying that the current NDMP, it needs further consultation. It should not be adopted immediately. Secondly, as a group, we have spoke around the issue of the CDA. We all know Act 70 of 2008. Unfortunately, my daughter will repeat it. It's very clear with regards to the role of the Central Drug Authority. It says the institutional framework of the NDMP, and we are saying that as a group, social development know their role within the Act, as well CDA, and it's very clear that there are some conflicting misunderstanding of the implementation of the law. So what we are saying, we are calling upon that let it be a review, not a review, a workshop, and then we ask legal people to come and give us their interpretation on this particular law to what it says. Because according to the law, which is the one that we are referring to, it seems that there's some misunderstanding. Alone meaning that they will not be forming part of what is happening because of this conflicting and misunderstanding of the law. And then also, we are saying that as the group, around the resolutions that we have made, we are proposing also that the implementation of the same act as it now, but now we know that it's going to be a long-term process. We are saying the act must be reviewed. The child have just mentioned, when the act was developed, she was born on that particular time. Now it means it must be reviewed. But we are saying we understand that there are processes, but we are saying let this summit note that the act must be reviewed, especially certain sections of the act. And we are saying the custodian of the act must be the one that starts with the process of the act. Also, the short-term plan of the group, we said that there should be an intervention like benchmarking the structures of the CDA against other similar organizations. We said that must happen because so that the CDA can get its full what you call mandate to say if let's change it to be what to other structure like SANAC. They make an example like SANAC. And then what is needed there in terms of resources, we said human resource, specialized people from different departments, because reports are there and they just need to be benchmarked so that this benchmark informs the legislation. And then also, I've mentioned the issue of the legal workshop so that that workshop can clarify the roles and responsibilities of the CDA and then its location, its function, and then according to the current act. And I've also mentioned the issue of the PSAF and the local drug action committees. That is in summary that we've just we have put for day one in terms of committees. But as a group, we are saying that the following, Deputy Minister and the House at large, that number one, every municipality with immediate effect must establish the local drug action committee. Because it's there and it says the mayor must. So why must we negotiate? So after this summit has concluded, we expect every municipality in the Republic of South Africa to establish a local drug action committee. And we are saying with immediate effect. After the establishment of the local drug action committee, we are also saying with this group that that particular local drug action committee should then develop what we call a mini local drug master plan. And the mini local drug master plan must speak to the local issues of substance abuse. And those local issues must be informed by the National Drug Master Plan. And those plans should encompasses all departments, all sectors. In other words, we made an example, Deputy Minister, that local drug action committees like someone who's cooking. Someone must bring the oil, someone must bring the pots, someone must bring the meal, someone must bring the veggies, and then the LTAC must cook and deliver the local municipality or the local community free from substance abuse. And who must do that? We are saying municipalities, local drug action committees, PSAF, DSD, and CDA. And when this must happen, we are saying those plans must be there. We fully understand that the financial year of the municipality is ending next year, June. So before the end of June, we are saying that they should, all municipalities, they would have established local drug action committees, they would have adopted the local mini drug master plan. Then lastly, around the issue of the local drug action committees. And then we say that the plan must be adopted by each municipal council. Why must it be adopted by each municipal council? It's for the purpose of accountability. And then also what we have said, we said that there should be a review of the current acts of all substance abuse matters, because these current acts at some point they are conflicting one another. And then also I think that will be the last point. We didn't, because of time, as requested, that give other inputs, but this is what we have said as group number 6, and then we want to take this opportunity and thank you.
May we appreciate again the presentation for Group 6. Any additional inputs on Group 6? And in the process, I'm requesting all the CDA members to be ready. There's another hand. May we move very fast? Are they getting a mic? No. Are you able to project whilst we're waiting for the mic?
Thank you very much, Madam Facilitator. My African name is Gabara Danelwe. Name is Deiger, unfortunately. It's a colonial one. So I'm from the Northwest Province in my capacity as the Secretariat for the Northwest Provincial Substance Abuse Forum. The facilitator for my group did not include my submissions. but I heard him saying that because of lack of time, we couldn't put all our inputs there. We agreed that we'll submit them in writing. However, because the opportunities afforded to me to include mine, this is based on the experiences that we are having in the Northwest Province. Fortunately for us, Madam Facilitator, in the Northwest Province, we are having 18 local municipalities, and we are also having 18 local drug action committees, including the Northwest Provincial Substance Abuse Forum. My challenge is that when we established the local drug action committees in the province, though we have succeeded in terms of doing that, we have come to a bitter observation that there is too much politicization of the local drug action committees. So one of the submissions that we want to make is that let municipalities depoliticize the local drug action committees. This happens especially when the administrative staff, and it affects the local drug action committees, particularly if the municipality is serving as the chairperson of the local drug action committee. We also want to emphasize the importance of the very same municipality in terms of adhering to the provisions of Section 60, subsection 8 of Act number 70 of 2008, which places the responsibility of funding and providing material resources to the local drug action committee. That responsibility, they are running away from it, but I hope that through SALGA, which is the mother body of the municipalities, and also COCTA, which is the custodian of them, in their presence, they will reiterate this during their in their platforms to say that the LDACs need funding from the municipality, because the act is very clear to say that with the monies appropriated for the purpose of the LDACs, municipality must provide such. And then we are also
sorry, my dear. May I ask you to pause? There is something that is urgent, ne? Because I had thought that you're going to be a little bit short. May I request that whilst you are standing, I'm going to ask all the CDA, because there are CDA members that have to catch flights and they have to leave now. And I believe that because this is the last biennial summit that this CDA is hosting, and we are the outgoing CDA, may I just honor them? Just ask them to come to the front, those who are available before they go, just for us to appreciate them. And then I will continue with, is that acceptable?
No, I don't think it's acceptable for me, ma'am. Let me conclude my story.
Unfortunately, they are flying out. So if at all it was, we are driving, and we are not going to have this opportunity again.
Let me put the last point, Madam Facilitator.
Very brief, few seconds there.
We also
in the meantime, sorry, ma'am, let me in the meantime ask the CDA members to come, ne? Yes, please do. Whilst you are finishing, please come, CDA members. Continue.
We would like to appreciate it also if adherence is made to Section 57, subsection 4 of Act 70 of 2008. The Department of Social Development, Madam Facilitator, is the custodian of the Act, but it fails also to provide funding to the very same structure that it is the administrative department of. So the Minister will use her authority and power to enforce that the provision, that provision be adhered to. And lastly, let the municipalities put the ITP.
May I really with you? A flight does not wait for anyone. I really want to appeal to you. I really want to appeal to you, please. May I honor these leaders, because this is the last time that they will serve. Please, may I have all the CDA members kindly come forth? We will not have them have this opportunity ever again. It is their last. May I just request, when I say all CDA members, please come, and PSAF members, please quickly. Whilst the leaders are standing here, there are representation of the leaders in the national and the provincial structure. Some of them are still hard at work. The purpose that they are standing here now is because this 4th biennial summit is the last one that this particular CDA, 4th CDA, is hosting for this nation. But it's not only that, it's because many of you do not know the hardships, the journey that they have gone through, that it is still staying. There are people who have been asking, you are still there. And this committee, this board is still there. So I wanted us to, as they are bowing in gratitude to serve the nation, we just really give them an applause of thank you. That's all I'm asking for. Okay. Mary, yes. And I was not to be the one who says thank you. I don't know. That our chairperson needs to be able to just say the last word. Is it permitted? Is it fine, ma'am? It's fine. All right. Okay. Now that the members who have to travel, may we appreciate that they will travel safely. Yeah. There was also a message that was to be played, but we know that because of the agencies, they need to be traveling. And thank you very much for those who have said it is okay. Because people do not know. You know, when you don't know the journey, it is easy to sometimes, just as you see the product, to believe that, it has been a smooth one. That's why they have to appreciate. And thanks very much. And may we then conclude the input so that we are able to take the last two groups. Have you completed, sir? All right. Let me take the last input, and then we then take group one, and we also take group three, we conclude. Thank you very much for that effective input. I'm looking through the room. Is there any other hand that I'm not seeing? Or are we covered? I'm not seeing any other hand. May we then kindly move to group one? I promise that I'll then go back to group one and then finish with group two. Group three. May we have group one? Thank you. As they're coming, may we appreciate them also? May we move speedily, ma? Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols observed. Deputy Minister, greetings. What I'm gonna do is just to look at the recommendations, because our group had a discussion in terms of licit substances, which normally are called the socially acceptable substances, which is alcohol and tobacco. So we looked at I'm going to just present on the recommendations. We saw that there's the community is drowning, and we want them to be able to survive and thrive, in terms of harm reduction and also those substances that are illicit. We looked at the policy and regulations. We say that we recommend that there must be mandatory law reform, meaning that there must be stricter laws, not just guidelines, because these guidelines are not normally followed. Advertising, and then fix the licensing in terms of looking at monitoring and evaluation. We have seen that most of the time there is some misalignment of departments in terms of who needs to monitor those liquor outlets. And then close the e-hailing gap, because currently young people are able to order liquor through your Uber Eats and Checkers 60. So we need tightened regulations regarding that. And then in terms of social action, we recommend that communities should be mobilized more, meaning that we also need to involve the traditional leaders as well as the communities, parents, everyone involved. And then we must shift the culture of alcohol use, like having those Puza Thursdays, and then also educate community in terms of educating them about harm reduction, starting at an early age, because we, especially from ECDs, and then also link it to GBV. And we also want to influence parliament and policymakers. We need their influence in terms of making sure that these recommendations are being addressed. And then another one that we have, I just want to move to the one of, we have seen the misalignment in terms of the Department of Trade and Industry, as well as the provincial economic development, because some of the others have the mandate of growing the Department of Economic Development's mandate is to grow the economy, because everyone shift the blame to the other one. And then we want the Central Drug Authority. We also seen the gap, we see that the Central Drug Authority is merely an advisory body, and then we want to make sure that we have seen that it cannot enforce some of the laws. So those are the things that needs attention, because there are some authoritative power that the CDA needs. And then also we're saying that we also want the resolutions that were adopted in 2023 that have not been implemented to be implemented. That's what we discussed as a group. And then there is also, we identified that the DSD policy and the National Drug Master Plan are not even aligned in terms of the sections. So we need those policies, and also including the ones of DTIC. So we recommend centralized standards and also national norms and standards to be enforced across all provinces, and also include the municipality bylaws as well as the provincial laws that there must be alignment. And then we need to resolve conflict between all the departments, Department of Health, Department of Social Development, all these relevant departments that needs to address harm reduction, to be able to resolve that conflict and be able to have one voice. And then we also recommend the increase of legal drinking from 18 to 21, regulate and reduce the size of liquor containers, and also strengthen the flavors, different flavors, and their market is young people. And also they are also seeing sponsoring and also appearing in events. And then also they are undermining the policy, using the delay tactics in terms of confusing, even the consumers and also the government in terms of, making sure the policy is being controlled or addressed. And then harm reduction strategies and policies, what we recommend, we said we want strengthened tobacco control bill. We want it to be, it is the most urgent action that is required, especially on e-cigarettes, to reduce the new harms they cause, which affects the lungs and the brain development, especially as their target market is young people. And then expose the industry interference in terms of trying to expose to protect the health policy, in terms of when they are being addressed in terms of especially to children and young people. And also request that there must be global benchmarking, and also protect the young users, or even people that are non-users of cigarettes, especially. And also the packaging and labeling is very important, because it's also an issue that needs to be addressed. And tax policies, let us make sure that tax measures are there to reduce tobacco consumption. And then smoke-free control, make sure that we are looking at having stricter laws on public smoking. I think I'll just have to end there, but the most important one is collaboration effort with all the civil society, different departments and provincial structures. Thank you. National and provincial and local structures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Group 1. Any inputs for Group 1? Then we'll also be going straight to the last group, being Group. I also just need to check whether we still have some of our honorable MACs around. They might not be in the house. If there can be someone to check that for me in the meantime. But let me take the hands input. I am seeing on this side, One, no, one, two, oh, three. One, let me go this way. 1, 2, 3. And then this side of the room, I'm not seeing any. May we have the mic so that may someone who's running with the mic really run with the mic? That will assist us quickly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to say that in our group, Group 1, we made 2 very specific recommendations, and we would really like resolutions. We'd really like this committee, this summit to adopt them. I think yesterday everybody agreed that we've got a national problem with alcohol. Am I right? Okay. But the problem is we don't have a national solution. And the reason is that liquor licensing, which is retail liquor licensing, that's licensing of bottle stores and licensing of taverns and so on, is a provincial responsibility. So national government cannot decide who gets licenses, who doesn't get licenses, how many licenses, what time places should close, or anything like that. Because the Constitution says that that is a provincial responsibility only. So we think, as WASA, which is the organization I work for, working for an alcohol safer South Africa, that we must lobby for the Constitution to be changed so that the liquor law of the country is one law from national and not 10 laws, because we've got one national law and then we've got one law for every province. So we need one law for the whole country. But that means the Constitution must be changed. So that's number 1. It's departments of economic development. So if you think about it, what is the job of the DTRC and the job of provincial departments of economic development? It's to promote economic development. It's not to reduce social harm. So the second resolution is that you must push that responsibility for liquor legislation must go out of the economic cluster into the social cluster, either social development or health or somebody, because even the National Drug Master Plan and the substance abuse prevention of, prevention of and treatment for substance abuse policy, they can make recommendations around alcohol, but they can't make the law around alcohol. So those are the 2 resolutions. One is that we must have one law for the whole country. So that means changing the Constitution so it's no economic cluster into the social cluster. And we hope that you support that and we can all fight for that to happen. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. We're not part of this thing, and then we are depositing. One of the things, as they've alluded, issues of packaging and labeling. But most important, we are a custodian of the Act, National Drug Master Plan. But still, our language is stigmatizing, discriminatory, and contributes to overdose. So, service users, we have substance use disorder, so that we are able to cater and ensure that our people are, they feel as people. So, as custodian, so it's our responsibility, because we have been experiencing that kind of language even from yesterday, and it continues. So, I think this, summit must be strict, find a way to say, how do we deal with such, because even at our churches, as NPOs, as NGOs, we continue talking about this language, of which is incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think there was a submission also in our group that was made from a young person, because Chairperson, the CDA, when you take a decision, says to this summit, we want to hear the grassroots from the ground. And the young person, maybe we must debate it, she indicated that the age group should not be 21 or 18, the age restriction should be, say, 25. She even said, because when you look at the studies, they say the brain I think, developed until 25. So, and then now, why do you allow it? So we are contradicting ourselves. If a brain develops until age of 25, then we should be able to say from, let's say from 1 to 25, no one should be drinking alcohol. Then maybe after 25 years, while the brain have developed, then we can take it from there. Right. The second one, I think I want to concur with my brother on the issue of one liquor act. Because these different liquor acts, provincial different liquor acts, are a problem. Because I'll make an example. The Premier here in his opening address, he said, why do we continue to have liquor outlets in our location? Now it means that we have the power as the community, or we must empower the community to be able not to recommend for these liquor outlets to be there in the community. Because once we can deal with the issue of accessibility of alcohol, then we are fine. We did it, the COVID, memorable. We did the COVID. There was one legislation across the whole provinces. I'll make an example in Mpumalanga. In Mpumalanga, the act says one official from the municipality, one official recommends to the liquor board. One official. And then we said it's in Mpumalanga, we took a resolution because we invited in one of the liquor board summit. We said it should not be one official who's responsible to recommend to liquor board. It should be a committee. That committee should be members of the local drug action committee, so that that person who says, I want to open a shepin, must go and present to that committee. And then if that committee says no, then it's no. Because the recommendation starts from the municipal level. And also let us conscientize members to say, when they are asking you as a neighbor, as person says, I want to open a liquor outlet, it starts also there. Say no and don't sign that petition. Because once you sign it, you are giving them approval to go and apply and get these licenses. And lastly, that's why we say, if you can have one liquor act, we can say, it has happened in this country, in apartheid. Apartheid time, alcohol was not sold on Sundays. But why in the democracy, we are selling alcohol even on Sundays? I'll pause there.
Thanks very much for all the contributors. We are now on the last 3. I'm going to ask that we check the declaration team, the resolution team, how far the process is, because they would need to also be presenting to this plenary after the presentations. I made aware that we had on our program that we're going to have MECs who honored this summit also, to be able to just give some concluding remarks, but I'm made aware that our leaders had to step away, but they've been here with us even today, and they even participated in the commissions. The same with the parliamentary committee. So we really appreciate all of that. So we would not have the part for our leaders. We'll take the last group, and then we will then move to the declarations. May we appreciate.
I'll go afterwards.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Honorable. Good afternoon, Honorable and the team. So we are Group 3, which is the Criminal Justice and Community Safety. So I'm Ernestine Watson, and I'm from the organization Drug Free World. Now, we have the problem statement. The problem statement is that South African criminal justice system struggles to deal with the drug problems because it's not well coordinated and often focus too much on the punishment instead of reducing demand and helping communities. Police and community forums lacks resources. Departments don't work together properly, and important information is not shared. Because of these issues, drug market continues to grow, and law enforcement cannot effectively protect communities or stop drug syndicates. Now, the barriers. One of our biggest barriers identified is that our police don't target the real problem. I'm going to say that again. The police don't target the real problems. Instead of stopping the people who sell the drugs, the system focuses on arresting the user. People who are often already struggling, the users are struggling, drug dealers are arrested and then they're released few days later, or even an hour, or even maybe 30 minutes, or not arrested at all. While the users continue to carry the weight of the punishment. This makes communities feel unprotected and unheard. As we said, that she mentioned to say that we are unheard. Because of the people who causes the most harm are not held accountable. The drug lords are not held accountable, but the users are held accountable, and that needs to change. This makes community, as I said, it creates a cycle where nothing truly changes, as we're well aware that our communities, there's just no change at all. So, and people who need her help are the most, people who need the help most are the ones who suffers by the drug, using drugs. Another barrier we identified is the lack of proper training and resources for people who are supposed to help our communities. Lack of proper training and resources for people who are supposed to help our communities. Substance abuse cases, teachers also don't receive support or training they need to guide young people who may be at risk. Even when SAPS tries to do their job, they often don't have enough resources or protection for whistleblowers. Now, we know what happens to whistleblowers. We know what happens to whistleblowers. So at the same time, many young people struggle with unemployment, which leaves them to the vulnerability of drugs and crime. Organizations that want to help don't get the funding they needed. And the community itself lack the basic resources to support teachers, SAPS, and the NPA. All of this creates a cycle where the people who want to make a difference simply don't have the tools to do so. So the challenges is resources. And as an organization, I say that we feel that we are doing what we're supposed to, but we can make bigger impacts in our communities if there's resources, if there's funding. And that is what we as a Group 3, that is the barriers that we find. And this, I feel for me, criminal justice and community affects us in all communities, in all regions, in everywhere. And then it's quite important that community leaders, community organizations, you play a vital role in all the communities to make sure that you go out and ensure that this, what we're saying now, the barriers we're facing, that you support, you help, and you assist.
Good afternoon, everyone. In as much as we have shared our concerns about the challenges of substance abuse in our communities, it is not enough to only highlight the problems. Change begins with action, and these are the solutions we've envisioned, solutions that aim to protect our children, support our communities, and restore hope to those affected. We'll start with the policy reform. As Group 3, we discussed that we can no longer afford to look away while our children, families, and communities are slowly torn apart by substance abuse. Now more than ever, we need every sector, government, schools, SAPS, social workers, health professionals, and civil society to rise together and confront the deeper, often uncomfortable truth. We must address the root causes, not just the symptoms. Substance abuse does not begin in isolation. It grows in environments where young people feel unseen, unsupported, or unprotected. This is why our policies must evolve. We need to change our policies. Raising awareness is not enough if the laws that govern us fail to create real protection. Reviewing and reinforcing existing policies, tightening regulations, and holding institutions accountable can build a system that prioritizes prevention instead of reaction. And for our police, who often stand between danger and safety, we must ensure they're supported with adequate resources, training, manpower, and whistleblower protection. A system that expects so much from officers must also empower them to do their jobs safely and effectively. But true reform does not require empathy. But true reform also requires empathy. Moving beyond punishment alone is critical. Then we had harm reduction. Decriminalizing possession for service users and prioritizing substance abuse cases in our courts shifts the focus from condemnation to healing. It recognizes that individuals caught in addiction need help, not handcuffs. We then moved on to harm reduction solution. Substance abuse is not a problem to ignore, but a challenge to understand. By tracing the origins of harmful substances and using technology to identify and manage risks, we can protect lives before it's too late. Instead of only reacting when lives are shattered, we must seek to understand the journey that leads individuals towards harmful substances. By tracing the origins of these drugs, examining the ingredients, and uncovering how do these ingredients reach our communities, we take the first powerful step towards prevention. Projects that investigate these routes, coupled with modern technology, give us the ability to identify risks longer before they claim another life. Stricter controls on the sale of medications and accessible substances can close the loopholes that allow addiction to take hold so easily. But rules alone, they're not enough. We need strong, genuine partnership with NGOs, healthcare providers, schools, and community leaders. These organizations and individuals are often see the warning signs first. And by working together, we can predict these patterns. We can intervene early, and we can also support those who are vulnerable. Our last solution was the law enforcement improvement. Our law enforcement officers stand on the front line of this battle every single day, often carrying the weight of our community safety on their shoulders. But even the strongest among them, they can't fight this war alone. They need systems that support them, leadership that guides them, and communities that stand beside them. With strengthened oversight, proper training, and intelligence-driven operations, their work can be more targeted, more ethical, and far more effective. Equipping officers with immediate on-the-ground testing tools means no more delays, no more uncertainty, no more missed opportunities to intervene early. This not only enhances accuracy, but also builds trust between officers and the communities they serve. Professional, justified searches rooted in collaboration with structures like the CPF and community intelligence ensure that interventions are safe, they're respectful, they're grounded in real concerns rather than fear. When law enforcement is supported by community leaders, families, justice departments, and civil society organizations, we create a united front, one that is stronger than any substance that's threatening our homes currently. This unity has the power to break cycles, to hold dealers accountable, and to guide those who are lost back towards recovery. Together, we form a force that does more than enforce the law. We protect lives, we restore dignity, and inspire a future where safety and hopes are not dreams, but lived realities. So let us all stand together and fight against drugs. Thank you.
As we appreciate them and we take any last inputs, I'm going to ask our Deputy Chairperson to come forth for this remaining part of the program. Thank you so much.
Are there any additional? Oh, good afternoon. One hand, I see one hand here. Can you please have everybody standing outside to come in? We're about to close now. We are humbly requesting that anybody that is outside, please come into the room. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Namqad. Just on harm reduction, the problems in society are feeding into each other. I think we can all pick that up. Tina, at the grassroots, we are now facing a problem, medical waste management. So the team that is dealing with that, please have the conversation on medical waste management. There are needles everywhere in Malukshini, and that is placing other people at risk. especially abantwana that are in the parks that reside in a hostel. So can we please have a conversation around that before it's too late on medical waste management? And that also includes electrical waste management. Vapes are lying everywhere and already communities are burdened with littering. So please can we, in the future maybe, or as part of the resolutions that we have, can we also add that as a matter of discussion and goes?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm trusting that the scribes for that group. Can we please ask people outside, because I really feel like it's a problem. You know, one of the problems that, thank you, sis, that we have as people that are civil society is when we have an opportunity to actually engage seriously with the matter. This is what we do. We spend a lot of time outside, and then once decisions and resolutions are made, we then complain to say we were not part of the process. When the opportunity was there for us to be part of the process, we choose not to be part of the process. We really need to fix this. We also talk about the industry. Like when we were in room number 1, we were talking about how the industry is banded together and they forcefully push forward. But when it comes to civil society and the matters that pertain to them, this is how we deal with it. So I'm asking again, can we please ask the people that are sitting outside to please come into the room? They can bring their coffee, but we are about to read the declaration. And this declaration that has been made is made on behalf of all of us. So anybody that has chosen not to be part of the process, they cannot complain. There's another hand here.
On new renewable licenses, liquor licenses in high harm areas. If areas already have GBV and lots of issues, there should not be more liquor licenses. Amend licensing law to include density and GBV criteria. Mandatory community consultation in all provinces. Stronger law enforcement and real penalties for non-compliance. Restrict alcohol in family-orientated and excessive retail environments. Immediate processing of the Liquor Amendment Bill. Limit industry interference in policy spaces. Implement the WHO recommendations through a presidency-led national plan. And then the last and one of our most important is increased taxation to reduce affordability and fund harm reduction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so basically what is going to happen now with all the, because there was a team that was working on the sidelines, bringing it all together, right, doing the writing that we can't all do. So the recordings from this plenary are going to feed into, they are going to use that to feed in certain points that may not necessarily have already been included in the declaration. So I'm going to ask the tech team at the back to project the declaration before we can allow the Deputy Minister to sign it. Okay, he's not going to sign it unless it's printed. Can somebody bring him a printed form, declaration so he can sign it? So basically, this is the declaration that has been drafted by our very, very capable people at the back. And I'm not going to go into the preamble, and I'm just going to go into observing, if we can push that, and please go with me. Observing that these enabling factors, which is the factors articulated above and in the room, expose children, adolescents, and young people to elevated risk, and that many resort to substances as a coping response to unaddressed social pain, economic exclusion, and limited opportunities. Hearing and acknowledging the voices of 180 young people concerned about the proliferation of cannabis in schools and the lack of information and education about the meaning and interpretation of legislation that decriminalizes cannabis use. Acknowledging that the National Drug Master Plan provides a strong national blueprint, yet implementation remains uneven, under-resourced, and poorly coordinated, and that communities must meaningfully own implementation if the NDMP is to succeed. Concerned at limited access to gender-sensitive, youth-friendly, evidence-based treatment and harm reduction services, and that current residential treatment capacity cannot meet national demand, particularly for women,
LGBTQIA plus persons and people living in poverty, affirming the need to strengthen community-based prevention and recovery interventions and address root causes, psychosocial support needs, reintegration, skills development, and access to livelihoods, recognizing the role of the business and private sectors in resourcing prevention, workplace programs, aftercare support, and social reintegration, and in contributing to local economic opportunities for people in recovery, emphasizing that drug trafficking, community level distribution, illicit financial flows, gangsterism, and substance related violence undermine community safety. Drug action committees are mandated to lead multi-sectoral implementation and accountability and must be protected, strengthened, and adequately resourced. In the spirit of Ubuntu, we call on government, parliament, civil society, communities, learners, and all citizens to come together in a unified national response. We reaffirm that drug use is a health issue, not a moral failing, and must be addressed through compassion, science, and collective action. We commit, that's us, we are committing to this. We commit to ensure that the resolutions of the summit will be embedded into the National Drug Master Plan 2530 and into relevant legislation on tobacco, alcohol, and controlled substances so that our words are turned into enforceable action. These are the commitments that we are making. We commit to 1, community leadership and NDMP implementation. Strengthen the voice, leadership, and participation of communities, parents, youth, traditional and faith leaders, and people who use drugs in shaping NDMP implementation. Localize NDMP work through fully functional and resourced LDACs and provincial forums. 2, primordial and prevention strategies are addressing enabling risks. Invest in prevention that tackles structural drivers, including poverty, unemployment, violence, gender inequality, homelessness, mental health vulnerabilities, and childhood adversity. Build sustainable community development, life skills, sports, arts, health promotion, and social cohesion initiatives that protect children and youth. 3, community-based treatment and harm reduction access. Are we hearing this? This is what we're saying. Expand community-based outpatient and youth responsive services, recognizing that inpatient centers cannot meet demand. That's very important. Scale evidence-based harm reduction interventions, screening, brief intervention, peer navigation, counseling, OAT, needle and syringe services, overdose prevention. That's all of it. Number 4, center women, girls, gender diverse populations. Expand gender sensitive and trauma informed services for women, girls, and LGBTQIA plus communities, including pregnant women and women with children. Protect women and children from substance fueled violence and exploitation. Number 5, safety, law enforcement, and supply reduction. Strengthen community law enforcement partnerships to combat trafficking, gangsterism, illicit distribution networks, and precursor chemical control. Promote alternatives to incarceration for low-level and non-violent offenses and target criminal syndicates over users. Number 6, partnerships with business and private sector. Leverage private sector resources for prevention, treatment support, workplace programs, community infrastructure, entrepreneurship, and recovery-linked employment. Number 7, governance, statutory institutions, and accountability. Strengthen the independence, statutory authority, and resourcing of the CDA, provincial forums, and LDACs. Ensure transparent governance and accountability aligned with NDMP priorities. NDMP objectives. This is us adopting the pledge or the declaration. We hereby adopt this declaration and pledge that the resolutions of the summit will be translated into concrete action, embedded into the NDMP 2530, enacted in relevant legislation, and resourced through budgets and programs. We ask all branches of government, parliament, and communities to hold us accountable, which is why I was saying it's quite important that we're all in the room. We ask all branches of government, parliament, and communities to hold us, all of us, accountable for these promises, just as we call on each South African to play a part. Together, by working in solidarity and determination, we will protect us in this room. So if you are asking who takes responsibility for this, we do. Okay. So this is the declaration, DM. And we are asking that you, the chairperson, and the portfolio committee chairperson, append your signatures to it, so that it is a document that is, we have heard in the room that we are all accepting our responsibility on it. And before, when we stood the CDA members to the front, we needed to say that the other people that joined the CDA were Provincial Substance Abuse Forum chairpersons, Gauteng and Mpumalanga. And I believe that there is Northwest in the room as well. Otherwise, the CDA members that were standing in front were, I think, about 5, and not all of them. At this moment, we would want to just, for a minute, not more, acknowledge and remember the 2 members of the CDA who are no longer with us. In the 5 years that we've been in office, 2 members of the CDA passed on. There were initially 11 of us, and now there are 8 because 2 resigned, not because they got tired of the work, but one went to Parliament to be a member of Parliament, Mr. Erling James. The other one went to work for UNODC, but he was with us the 2 days, Mr. Devon de Cocker, and he was facilitating one of the groups. And I would like at this moment, before we give a vote of thanks and allow the DM to come and close for us, to just for a moment go through the video. Remembering Miss Rachel Matikeledi Mutsipe and Mr. McDonald Nechi. Oh, it's playing. Thank you very much. It was supposed to also have sound. So it seems like the sound has again failed us. But it was Miss Mutsipe and Mr. Nechitenze. I will then, before the DM comes to close, we as the CDA would like to just present a vote of thanks because nobody can speak once the DM has spoken. Oh, is it the other way around? I was told that nobody can speak once the DM has spoken.
No, it's the right way. It's just that there is something that has been clarified because it's the question about whether this is because people are saying documents we need to just indicate that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So
we could just give Mbeki to do it quickly because
there's a mic down there, so you don't have to come up. Oh. No, just to clarify that you guys were working on the. Can you please give her a mic? She needs to clarify that they were working on the declaration.
Okay, thank you very much, DC, and good afternoon, members again. I just wanted to clarify something.
We have we had the feedback from commissions, and that feedback was given to us to compile the declaration. But you can see that the declaration will not be as detailed to the extent where it will cover the input that was given here. So we are finalizing the resolutions that talk to the declaration. And Chair is saying that we need to request your mandate based on this declaration and the feedback that was given in commissions to finalize and consolidate the resolutions. And once that is done, obviously we go back as a CDA and we'll also give you feedback on the resolutions that you've taken here and also give you an action plan on how we intend implementing those resolutions. I just wanted to clarify that and to seek your permission for us as a CDA to finalize the
Permission given. Permission given. Thank you. It's not mine, ma'am. You can go. Okay, permission is given. Yay! Thank you. Okay, the other thing that I forgot is I was asked that before we leave, we decide at the summit, Chair, I didn't pass this through you. Where is the next summit going? Where? It's in 2 years. Okay, Mpumalanga, there's Durban. Cape Town, okay, there's 3, Mpumalanga, Durban, Cape Town. Let's go to a vote. Or maybe Mpumalanga, and then there's Birchwood. Mpumalanga, who are saying Mpumalanga? By show of hands, okay. Durban? Oh, Durban, man. West, Cape Town? Wow, Cape Town seems to be winning, and there's no Cape Townian in the room. People are just wanting to go to another country. And then Birchwood? Okay. I think the Western Cape is winning, but I don't know. Because there's no Western Cape person here who's going to take responsibility for this thing. So the next best is Mpumalanga. So, oh, you are here. Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't see that. Were you going to take responsibility, though, for it? So, Western Cape says they can take responsibility for it. So, basically, the request is when we write our handover report, we actually state that the people at the 2025 summit said they want the next summit to be. So, we will write Western Cape. And then followed by Mpumalanga. Yeah, and it's going to be around this period. So it has to be, it's statutory. Okay. And just as a closure, I want to also just acknowledge the members of the CDA. Dr. Hala Bingako from the Department of Health is here. Professor Mashabela is here from the Department of Correctional Services. Major General Matonsi is here from South African Police Services. Dr. Charmaine Badenhorst was here. She just left. She did say that she needed to go to another meeting. She's from the Department of Justice and Correctional Services. Oh, yeah, that's word that I always forget. DOJCS. And I don't know if I'm missing anybody, any departmental member that was here with us. Oh, Mr. Sam Kandlela from the Department of Traditional Affairs. And I apologize if there's anybody. Oh, and Miss Makaipi here from work that we have done as one Central Drug Authority, the independent members, as well as the departments. It has been, it has been a journey, and we truly appreciate all the experience, everything that we have had, because it has made us better, it has made us stronger. We are coming out of here feeling like we have actually served our country, because that has always been the intention, that we serve our country and give it the best shot that we can. And with that, we are saying thank you to all of you for being part of this summit. And thank you to the volunteers. thank you to the Students for Sensible Drug Policy, because honestly, if they had not assisted us in getting the sponsorship from Open Society Foundation, I'm not sure if we would have even been able to convene this. But they were very, very instrumental in making sure that this summit actually holds. We thank World Changers candidate as well for being the support that they have been to CDA, doing a whole lot of the work that was happening this past 2 days here with us. And we thank the exhibitors, the Sanka. We thank all the people that were there, SADC, also contributing in different ways. We thank every delegate that was part of this. We say, truly, truly, we have a group of people that are quite committed to this mission. And we have made a declaration right now. Can we go and make sure that this declaration that we have made is actually implemented? And with those words, we say thank you very much. And if I've forgotten anybody, maybe perhaps I need to also thank the people that have been planning this from April. It's been long. That have been planning this, meeting every month, meeting every Thursday towards the end, and doing the actual work that needed to be done to make this the success, the resounding success that it has been. We have not seen anything like this. And of course, how can we not thank our Deputy Minister, who has made us feel like we have a father? You know, that's the one thing that we are so proud. We feel so warm. We feel like there's somebody that actually just embraces us, you know, and we truly, truly thank you, DM. And with those words, DM, can I give the podium to you? Can we clap for the DM as ukholo lwami ngonyuka nalo
Hayo matata, matato, hayo matata, hayo. Nkapese, 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 kamata, wena kasibili, nshulele. Nkapese, nkapese, nkapese. No maguyenyu, gagotu kololwa milu yongena nalo ekhaya. No magunzima. No maguyenyu, gagotu kololwa milu yongena. Yesterday, the Premier of Gauteng shared with you the fact that the two of us have fought many battles, but didn't say that each battle we fought, we won. He also said that we have new battles to fight. And you've seen that he's given the CDA and the sector all his support. He's very passionate. So he will join me in looking very carefully at the declaration, and we look forward to the detail. I want to begin by acknowledging the immense commitment and expertise gathered in this auditorium. This event would not have taken place if all of you who are in this sector did not put your hands in your pocket and made things happen. So I would like to applaud you. In my view, all of you represent the front line in our battle against substance use disorders nationwide. And all of us know and have learned about the devastating and rippling effects of substance abuse disorders have had and continue to have on our communities and in all our poorest provinces. We've heard the learners, and I support any motion or recommendation that once the 5-year drug master plan has been adopted, and remember, all of you passed the test, you knew how to count 1 to 7. I feel it's then important to engage the learners, hand them the 5-year master plan, and ask them to do a mini plan for all our primary and high schools. So they have their own plan. And as you know, I have recently formed a national boy-child parliament, and they're meeting in KZN on the 13th of December and the 14th of December. So that is the boys' child parliament, and we also have a girl child parliament. And I will put on the agendas that they assist in developing a mini master plan, let's say, call it for all learners. I'm the patron of the men's parliament, and I will ask the men's parliament that they support and fund it and have deadlines. And we would expect that the new Central Drug Authority, which will be appointed by Parliament, and Parliament is you. You put them there. And you have a chance to show your support or your displeasure when you vote in November next year and also in 2029. So you must use your vote. You put them there. So don't come and cry here. You put them there. Don't come and cry here. Your presence yesterday and today at the CDA's 4th Biennial Summit was a profound and immediate statement which developed into a declaration, and it clearly underlined that all of us want to end the scourge and wish to seek solutions together, not only for our communities, but for others as well. Before going any further, do permit me to comment briefly on the G20 Heads of States meeting. And you know, they covered disasters, and we are aware of the COVID disaster, and we won the battle. We now have an announcement of a priority, and we're going to win the battle. And it is my view that the formation of the CDA is more than an announcement and more than a disaster. So having been at the helm of G20's affairs during 2025, South Africa concluded on a high historic events. The two countries that gave us problems at Nasrec, America and Argentina, they participated in all 130 events. They were not absent. And I must tell you that they contributed tremendously to the declaration that the President His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa made. So you've heard that the reason he didn't attend is because there's a genocide of Afrikaners. Let me tell you that since our democracy, Afrikaners' prosperity has grown 12 times. Taking into account escalations every year, they have benefited the most from the 30 years of a democracy. They not only maintained their situation, it in fact improved 12 times. So they cannot complain. At this significant gathering, the G20 declarations that was adopted highlighted key priorities. These were, however, underscored with a strong focus on Africa and the global south. It's important that we don't forget that we are all Africans. There was, I went to the cradle of man, of humankind, near Lanseria Airport, and we found the remains in any one of you were born 200 million years ago. But there were quite a number of images on the walls when you visit that particular museum on that farm. And it showed that we are one country, one continent. So all the countries were actually one continent. It is colonialism that split us into over 50 countries. And it is important that we don't forget that we now need to work towards a United States of Africa. Because on our own, we are very weak. South Africa on its own is very weak. Nigeria on its own is very weak. But when all these countries come together, like the European Union, the Commonwealth of Nations, we will be more prosperous than both of them. So Africa is going to be the continent that is going to shape the future of the world, not Donald Trump. This unique and long declaration also emphasized, like I said earlier on, the issue of disasters. And this summit must be commemoration, but we are confident of getting the cooperation of the 600 corporate companies from America who attended B20. That is the business side of the summit. 600 American corporations are throwing their weight behind South Africa and Africa. Keeping these in mind, and what I found quite striking was that the Johannesburg Leaders Declaration confirmed our African philosophy. In the spirit of Ubuntu, we recognize that individual nations cannot thrive in isolation. The African philosophy of Ubuntu, often translated as I am because we are, emphasizes the interconnectedness of individuals within a broader communal, societal, economic, and environmental context. One of the delegates at the G20, I think it was a French delegate, he was so impressed with the concept of Ubuntu that came out of the 130 engagements we had over 12 months, and also the way our president embodied it, that he sees Ubuntu as the solution for the world, not Donald Trump. That principles of interconnectedness is the very reason why this summit, which focused on substance abuse, to put the pressure for the interministerial committee, which includes the social development department and minister, so that it can get down to work, because it's substance abuse that is the foundation of gender-based violence and femicide. And it is alcohol that is at the root of all of that. So it's very interesting to hear your position on alcohol, and I was surprised that the members of the Portfolio Committee, including those from the African National Congress, support you. But we don't want their support at these summits. They must do their work in Parliament. The Portfolio Committee must do their work in have the policy. We can go have the policy. We can go to the white paper, and then we can amend the legislation and have one legislation and have one piece of legislation. So they did that with regard to the marriage acts. We had so many marriage acts. Every community wanted their own marriage act. Even the Khoisan said, we want marriage act. Even the Khoisan said, we want our own. Even the Muslim community where I come from said we want our own marriage act. But when it comes to marriage, they want to marry anyone. Now it's nearly 8 political parties to marry Muslims to the demands of civil society. Just imagine 10 political parties trying to adopt one policy. So there are some challenges. Before touching on Ubuntu as a philosophy that we should reconsider weaving into our communal lives, allow me to comment briefly on the 2 days proceedings. Firstly, I commend the CDA Program Committee for having thrown its net wide with invitation having sent out to many stakeholders. And many more would have attended if I didn't crack the whip last week. Secondly, the program committee constructed a jam-packed agenda and discovered a variety of themes as noticed from the breakaway sessions. Earlier on, we heard amazing summaries of what took place at those commissions, and we hope that the wisdom that came out of there, because the streets have spoken. The commissions were represented by the streets. We need to cover that as we amplify the declaration. The themes were carefully selected, and I'm not surprised because the best minds in the country forms the leadership of the CDA. So I'm not surprised that it was carefully selected. And it was selected in such a way to open the platform for a critical engagement. And we had the summit were not merely kind in their comments, but they were critical too. And that was welcome. And lastly, when they offered their criticisms and thoughtful ideas on how to move forward with a list of recommendations, which is now a declaration, I think the CDA want to do better than Cyril Ramaphosa. They've heard if a president can make a declaration, we can also make one. So a round of applause for the CDA. But His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa made the declaration, but you are going further than him. I hope he doesn't hear this. You've got an action plan. And you are crafting a realistic roadmap that should be able to take the National Development Master Plan forward. So let us be realistic. Parliament is going to appoint a new CDA authority. You are going to appoint it because you put those MPs there. So you better start not writing letters to the president. You must write letters to your MPs and tell them, or your councillors and your MPLs, and tell them, if you want our vote, you must listen to the streets. Don't listen to your party, listen to the streets. So bearing these observations in mind, allow me to chat about the Ubuntu legacy, but I'm not going to spend much time on it. The Ubuntu legacy is South African based. We took the lead on behalf of the whole of Africa, and now suddenly the European Union countries, they also want to embrace it. And Africa understands it and respects our position. When South Africa got its freedom in 1994, Julius Nyerere ended the Liberation Committee. We had a Liberation Committee with a strong secretariat that fast-tracked the liberation of country after country to get their freedom. In a short space of time, this Liberation Committee achieved wonders. The African National Congress at that time were a liberation movement, and they were part of this Liberation Committee. So now that the Liberation Committee has done its work, there are still 3 or 4 countries that don't have the freedom, like Western Sahara, who gave us nearly 100 tanks to fight the apartheid regime, and other countries like the Rif Republic, and also some country near Somalia. I don't want to go into those details. Julius Nyerere said that we now need to do exactly what the CDA is doing, and many other things. And he called it the right thing to do. And the word that he used was righteousness. Now, I'm a bit embarrassed to say what it means in Swahili, because I don't want to be seen to promoting my political party. But in Swahili, the word that he used was ujamaa. Ujamaa means righteousness. So we have here people that embodies the spirit of righteousness. You are implementing the legacy that our foundational fathers in Africa has left behind, and the foundational fathers like Chief Albert Lutuli and Oliver Tambo have also embraced. So we see hope for Africa as they move towards a United States of Africa. And one of the first steps to have 7 years of African prosperity is to remove the borders. It has been delayed because many countries, they still want their sovereignty and they don't see themselves as Africans. To them I say, well, why don't you become European? The G20 gave us more than a declaration of policy on a final date. It revealed our status as a significant national power regionally and continentally. As numerous delegates noted on social media and in private, you must watch social media and type Ubuntu. What they experienced was not hospitality. It was, in fact, Ubuntu in action. Now, let me unpack it. They spoke of the security guards who smiled, the drivers who shared stories, and the coffee vendors who treated them like family, not foreign dignitaries. A French delegate called this the real power. We don't appreciate Ubuntu because, okay, it's part of our daily life as a mechanical transaction. This is the very essence of social development, and this is the very ministry where I served as the Deputy Minister of Social Development. Because when we joined the government of national unity, my political party, Al Jamaa, was given that particular position. So even if I have to leave, the party will still occupy that political position. The work you do in this order counseling and the community support is the implementation, concretization of that human connection. So you are that righteousness which Julius Nyerere has spoken about, and is a legacy that our founding fathers, that we all admire and respect, have left behind. I've read most of their biographies. I go and hunt them down. I buy them in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe, wherever I can. I try and read up on the autobiographies of our founding fathers. I hope you will do the same. By you and I fighting addiction and supporting families who are indeed actively strengthening the social fabric that not only impress the world, but that yearns for and actually desires. We are proving that our national identity lacked with warm feelings and emotions can be translated in our country's national resilience. It is only natural that we are the kindest, the most welcoming, because humankind started here in South Africa, unless someone proves otherwise. So if humanity has started on your doorstep, it is only natural that we embody the concept of Ubuntu, and the world is welcomed here because they all have their origins here. Now, this biennial summit should be seen as South Africa's important step in implementing the G20 spirit that was underscored by three notes. Was a slave from Indonesia. She was captured by the Dutch, and they also owned Cape Town, and they brought her, and some white man bought her. Then Malaysia and Indonesia were one country before. They were all here. And the president is looking at tapping the trade opportunities in the Asian countries like Indonesia, who have nearly 200 million people, and Malaysia, to replace any restrictions that we can expect from Trump. And after he leaves power, we can resume our trade relations with America. So we have to bite the bullet, just like the CDA had to bite the bullet in the last 2 years of their 5-year term. So if the CDA can bite the bullet, South Africa can also bite the bullet. Our work, from the comprehensive rollout of the National Drug Master Plan to the critical provision of support for people with substance abuse disorders and their families, is a direct expression of the G20's commitment to building resilient and inclusive communities and societies. This is going to benefit not only South Africa, but 20 or more countries that make up the G20. This human, what you have now settled. And it would be exciting to be part of that CDA because they will get everything on a silver platter. In other words, when turning to the conference sub-3, we noted that it stressed the idea of strengthening the community voices in order for us to undertake effective implementation. In fact, made certain that we plan to concretely transform the National Development Master Plan's adopted set of policies into meaningful practice, and its purpose is to achieve positive outcomes. That is the legacy that the CDA, at the end of its 5-year term, is leaving behind. And last night, and transformative power of our social policies. Thank you very much.
Okay, can some of us come to the stage so that we can all be seen? Whoever is shorter, we can climb on the stage. Yeah, short people, short, like Tembi, come to the stage. If you are on the stage, you are short.